The big question all week long has centered on this young man, and young he is. Freshman running back Herman Ho-Ching off to a terrific start this year before injuring his knee some 5 weeks ago. Ho-Ching returned to practice this week, declaring himself ready to go, but Oregon coach Mike Bellotti is much more cautious. Ho-Ching could play today, but Bellotti says keep those expectations in perspective.
You can't just say because of what he accomplished, 5 games ago that he's going to step out on the field and do it again. Certainly, we all hope that. But I think more importantly is that our own just confidence in what we're doing. We're not that far away from the same offense we were 2 weeks ago. I think it's going to take a little bit more performance in the offensive line, maybe, than who's carrying the ball to ensure that person has success.
And now to the fans, who, of course, in big rivalries play an important role in at least the pregame hype. This year is no different as fans go through their usual pregame rituals at the stadium. Brad Adams has spent the morning in Eugene, and he has found out firsthand what the Ducks and Huskies rivalry is all about. Brad?
That's exactly right, Steve. I can't predict who's going to win this game, but I can predict the weather. It's going to be rainy, it's going to be wet all day long. But that's not going to stop the players on the field, and it certainly did not stop the fans tailgating as Duck and Husky boosters party side by side in perfect harmony. Oregon fans welcome their Washington counterparts with open arms, even reserving a tailgate space for Husky backers.
He's getting Duck spirit with the Washington license.
Now, are you a closet Duck when you're in Washington, or do you wear the green and gold?
Oh, I come clear out.
If you're Husky fans, obviously, why are you tailgating with Oregon fans?
Well, dogs are a lot bigger than ducks, so we're not tailgating for the Oregon fans. We're down here to see the dogs whoop some feathered hiney.
We charge them admission. 50 for him, 50 for him.
So you make money on the deal.
We make money on the deal.
We want to invite them all here, at least for the first half of the game, and send them home at the second half.
Describe what you've got here for us.
Well, the TV, the satellite dish controller all run off of batteries through an inverter, so I'm not using a generator. And we've got gas, refrigerator, stove, hot and cold running water.
How long have you been here? Have you set up shop for days?
8 o'clock this morning.
So this is a tailgate / baby shower.
Yeah, it is indeed.
That's right.
The way
for Spencer.
Spencer.
Spencer has no choice but to be a Duck fan.
That's right.
Does this week put a lot of strain on the relationship?
Heck no.
It's all in good fun, right?
That's right. Okay. Making up is a fun thing.
They look kind of green like a duck.
They are. Well, you've heard of green eggs in ham. Yeah. We don't have ham. We have green eggs.
We've been looking for that. I think, isn't that Husky meat?
That is Husky meat, and we cook it up and we throw it at the Husky fans.
If you needed some gas for your grill or some utensils or something, would you ask a Duck fan for help?
They usually give us a flint rock or something like that. Notice these fellows over here did pick up a couple of sticks out in the woods and brought them over for their tarp.
Whether 6 feet a stick or 6 feet a sandwich, tailgating makes for one big duck and dog pregame party. All right, now see, I was getting in the spirit, shaking my pom-pom when a Husky dog nipped at me, so I guess they train even their dogs up there in Washington. A quick injury update for you, Steve, and all the Duck fans out there. Herman Ho-Ching, as you mentioned, will not start, but he will definitely see action today against Washington. And tackle Marco Aguirre is out for this game. He was going to try to come back. He is not going to play, but Steve, plenty of Ducks and Washington players out there to cheer for all these fans today.
Brad, what was it like driving down I-5 to Eugene this morning? Did you meet up with a lot of Ducks Huskies fans on the road?
We sure did. We left at 7 a.m. thinking that's going to be plenty of time to get down here, no traffic. We were wrong. There was a lot of traffic, a lot of signs, pom-poms on the cars, both colors, green and gold and purple and gold. So obviously this is a huge rivalry. The fans know the importance, and the players certainly do too.
As we can see, it's going to be a miserable day with the weather, but it doesn't seem to dampen anybody's spirit. This game is too big for that.
It's too big, and it was funny talking to the fans out there. I said, you guys have been here since 8 in the morning. Why are you tailgating when it's pouring down rain? They said, you know what? We just put the tarp up. We go at our business. We don't worry about the rain. And I think they'll do the same thing out here in the stands at Austin Field watching this game today.
For the most part, we're seeing clean, spirited fun between the two sides. They're just passionate for their football team and their state.
Exactly right. The tailgating, like we showed, side by side. My favorite couple, the married couple, the husband, the Oregon fan, the wife, the Washington fan. So, it's all in good fun. Everybody sharing, having a good time, joking before the game. But, once they get in here, I think it's all business, though.
Okay, Brad, thanks, and we'll talk to you again in just a few minutes. Still much more ahead on the Ducks and Dogs pregame show. We'll take a close-up look at the Oregon-Washington rivalry. Bitter, you ask? You bet. And we'll take you back to Eugene, where fans are getting ready outside and inside the brand new Moshofsky Center. The Ducks and Dogs pregame show continues after a quick timeout on The Power of Two.
Sitting down. Of course, if you still need a little more time to let it sink in, we'll run it by you again. So if you want to add a few new curves to your favorite stretch of road, see your Lincoln dealer. Lincoln Town Car, what a luxury car should be.
And welcome back to the Ducks and Dogs pregame show. As you look at Autzen Stadium, this reminder, you can see the Oregon and our pregame show at 12:30. Well, it's a rivalry that varies in magnitude depending on who you talk to. The Huskies, for some reason, have always downplayed their emotions for the Ducks, while Oregon players and fans consider every Husky game bigger than big. We do know it's been a bitter few years for the Huskies, who have been stung with big plays to lose 3 out of the last 4 meetings with Oregon. The biggest play of them all came in 1994.
Ewer, you're going to go back to throw the ball. Sets up, looks, throws toward the corner of the end zone. It is intercepted! Intercepted! The Ducks have the ball! Down to the 35, the 40. Kenny Wheaton's going to score! Kenny Wheaton is going to score! 20, the 10, touchdown! Kenny Wheaton on the interception! The most improbable finish to a football game!
Wow, if Kenny Wheaton's interception stands alone when it comes to Ducks-Huskies memories, last year's clash stands a close second. That's when the two teams met at Husky Stadium in Seattle. Washington ranked 6th in the country, while the Ducks were struggling below 500 until this play. Akili Smith will hit Patrick Johnson for the game-winning touchdown, stunning 70,000-plus Husky fans. If Washington comes to Eugene a little angry and looking for revenge, you can understand why. But let's face it, competitive sports creates rivalries, and that's exactly what you've got when you talk about the Ducks and Huskies. Cindy Brunson is in Eugene at the new Moshofsky Center next to Autzen Stadium with more on the rivalry. Cindy?
Thanks so much, Steve. I tell you, as a graduate of Washington State University, I thought the Cougars had cornered the market on animosity toward the Huskies. That is, until I checked out the battles along the I-5 corridor.
The Duck-Husky matchup's seen 91 games over the years, and for the Ducks, this game is one of the premier matchups on their schedule.
This game is probably bigger than the Oregon State game, and a lot of the fans and media and different things like that are looking forward to this game. We got to be able to go out there and play and rebound from that big loss last week.
The close proximity of these two schools creates a natural rivalry.
It'll be a real emotional game. You know, they're a team that plays with great emotion, especially against us, and we need to make sure we match that emotion and bring it to another level, which, you know, really isn't too hard when you're playing down in Autzen Stadium.
Over the last 5 years, the Huskies and the Ducks combined are the 2 winningest programs in the Pac-10, and both teams need this win.
You know, every game this year is very important to us, and it's just, you know, it's just a little rivalry, you know, dates back from before I even got here, you know, and I got a little taste of my freshman, sophomore year, and so this year I'm really looking forward to playing against them and, you know, just trying to get that W.
The Ducks have won 3 of the last 4 games between the two schools, and since 1994, nobody in the Pac-10's posted more wins than the Oregon Ducks. Everybody on the Duck squad is feeling the intensity rise, especially those who are new to the rivalry.
I'm starting to feel it this week a little bit. I mean, a little tension between the two, you know. I saw the newspaper how, you know, we're trying not to talk trash on them. They're trying not to talk trash on us, you know, just to wait for it on the field. Like, but everybody's telling me how loud Autzen Stadium's going to get this weekend, so just waiting for it.
Autzen will definitely be rocking as Chapter 92 in this rivalry is put into the books this afternoon.
About 25 minutes away from kickoff, Moshofsky finally starting to empty out now. Both the Huskies and the Ducks want to get in their seats for this big game. Steve?
Hey, Cindy, you were at the Ducks practice on Thursday. How did they seem to you? Were they loose or uptight? Were they already wearing their game faces by then?
They were already wearing their game faces. This is a huge game, and they know it. There's such a cluster of teams at 3-2 in the Pac-10 with Cal, Arizona State, the Ducks, and the Dogs. A bowl bid definitely lays on the line in this game, and they know it. Representatives from both the Holiday and Sun Bowl are in attendance today.
Hey, really impressed with Akili Smith. He handles himself well in front of the camera, and you know he's dealing with immense pressure.
He really is. He handled all of the Heisman stuff very well early on, and now he's trying to carry the team, do the senior leadership like he should, and really take them to the next level. I think he can do it.
Okay, Cindy, thanks very much. Talk to you again in just a few minutes. Well, much more coming up on the Ducks and Dogs. Football fans in Southwest Washington, who do you root for? Vancouver is caught in the middle. The countdown continues. Oregon and Washington coming up in about 15 minutes right here on Channel 2. Ducks and Dogs. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Ducks and Dogs pregame. You see Autzen Stadium filling up. The Husky Band on the field entertaining. A jam-packed crowd of some 45,000 expected for today's 92nd Oregon-Washington showdown. Each team has experienced heartbreak this year. The Ducks, of course, had to deal with that overtime loss at UCLA. And to the man, the Huskies will tell you their toughest loss came October 3rd to Arizona when Ortiz Jenkins took off for the goal line with time running out. His somersault into the end zone will forever go down as one of the great plays in college football. It was do or die for Arizona, and Jenkins came through with the play of his life. Safe to say, Washington has been in some wild situations this year, but they say nothing could be wilder than their trip to Eugene.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. The fans don't like it. They'll probably throw some yogurt on me or, something. But, we'll try not to pay attention to that too much and just go out there and play.
And he's right. There's something about the Huskies that brings out the best or worst out of Duck fans. The week before the annual Oregon-Washington showdown, record numbers of Duck boosters gather at the Multnomah Athletic Club to get primed for battle. This year was no different, with 650 Duck fans jammed into the MAC. They were joined by the one, the only Duck man who did his best to abuse the Huskies and get the Ducks fired up.
Does anyone on my committee know how to give a husky fresh water?
No, how?
Flush.
And you know Huskies boosters were returning the favor in Seattle all week long. Just another angle in one of the biggest rivalries in the Northwest. But who exactly are Ducks and Huskies fans? Well, Brad Adam joins us again from Autzen Stadium to hopefully answer that question. Brad?
Well, thanks a lot, Steve. We've got 45,000 fans here at Autzen Stadium, jam-packed, a sellout, but not all the fans rooting for the Ducks, just like in Southwest Washington, the city right between the two schools. And we found out who those fans root for.
The Columbia River does more than separate two states. It separates allegiances in the college football rivalry between Oregon and Washington. The purple and gold of Husky fans never mingle with the green and gold of Duck fans, except in Southwest Washington, where sporting goods stores are caught in the middle, usually offering both schools merchandise, except this week, hanging their hats on just one.
For this weekend's game, we'll have to send them across the river to their side of town, I guess, to buy their hat.
This week, I think we'd be selling more Huskies here, unfortunately.
You'd sell them in your Oregon sweatshirt, right?
That's right. In our Oregon stores, we'd sell much more of the Duck merchandise.
Sports writer Ken Vance sees the rivalry up close the past 12 years at the Columbian. He also sees Clark County's Duck fan base grow by putting more emphasis on the game.
One of the reasons the Ducks have had so much success, winning 3 of the last 4, is because the rivalries meant a lot more to them. The Huskies have always looked more at national championships, at Rose Bowl trips, at stuff like that, and have never viewed Oregon as a rival. And I think it's hurt them in the matchup.
The matchup can be seen in Kermit Washington's Orchards bar, La Slam. One waiter shows his true colors, and he's not alone.
I've been talking to people in Southwest Washington. A lot of Husky fans. How do you do it?
Oh, you got to have a Duck in here just to keep them honest.
Because we play the games on big screens all the time, the Washington State games.
and we get big crowds for when Washington State or Washington's playing. That's not on regular TV, so you can start indicate who they're really supporting.
I'd say most of them are Washington fans here.
Why is that?
It's Washington. We're proud Washingtonians.
A win against Washington always puts the Oregon backers in a dancing mood, no matter where they are, even in Southwest Washington.
Both teams getting ready to do a little victory dance today, but don't let those Husky fans fool you. They know how big this rivalry is. It divides states. Heck, it even divides families like we saw in the pregame tailgate piece. But again, both fans, they're staying very strong to their allegiances, and they know who to root for today, and they're rooting hard today, Steve.
Hey, Brad, interesting comment, though, from Ken Vance that the Huskies haven't taken this rivalry serious enough, and as a result, they've lost their edge over the last 4 years.
Well, I think that fan has taken this rivalry very serious over the last couple of years. But yeah, I mean, the Ducks have won it, last 3 or 4 years, and I think they circle the Washington game on the schedule when they get it at the beginning of the year. Washington kind of downplays the game a little bit, saying, Oregon is just our little brother's school, that we don't have to worry so much about them. But in the last couple of years, that's come back to get them a little bit, I think.
Southwest Washington, interesting story, really put in a tough geographic situation when it comes to this rivalry. I would think there would be more fans on the bubble, but the ones you talked to knew exactly who they were rooting for.
Yep, I mean, they were either in their school's garb or they said right away, Huskies, Ducks. It wasn't like, well, we kind of like both. If they do well, we'll root for them. No, they know, like I said, it's very divided, the allegiances. It's either Husky or you're a Duck, even in Southwest Washington.
Hey, Brad, thanks very much. Enjoy the game, okay?
Will do, thanks.
All right, more coming up on the Ducks and Dogs pregame show. No doubt, there's one part of the Huskies game the Ducks fear, and that's the rush. And, oh, those fans, they're clearing the Moshofsky Center and headed to Autzen Stadium for Oregon-Washington football. Remember, you can see it right here on Channel 2 at 12:30. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Ducks and Dogs pregame show. As you look at Autzen Stadium, we are just minutes away from the kickoff of Oregon and Washington, the 92nd renewal of this great Northwest rivalry, which you can see right here on Channel 2 at 12:30. When you're watching today's game, keep your eye on a couple things. The Ducks' ability or inability to run, and Washington's ability to rush the passer. And they're one of the best teams in the country in getting to the quarterback. The Huskies' defensive line has racked up 35 sacks in their last 4 games. They also lead both the Pac-10 and all Division I teams with 47 sacks on the year. That's nearly 6 sacks a game. If the Ducks can't slow the Huskies down, it could be a long afternoon for Oregon. And as you would expect, Eugene is hopping about right now because we're just a few minutes before kickoff. Let's check in with Cindy Brunson one more time. Cindy?
Thanks, Steve. Here at Moshofsky, again, things emptying out because we're so close to game time, but I was lucky enough to run into Mike Walter, our Monday night quarterback analyst, as well as former Oregon Duck and 3-time Super Bowl champion with the San Francisco 49ers. Mike, what can Oregon do against the Husky rush?
Well, the Huskies going to come after you, and they're going to come after you with a lot of different people. And what Oregon has to do is go with a play-action pass or a screen package, kind of keep them on the defensive, truly on the defensive, and be able to go for the little short passing routes and open it up that way. And give their time. Their quarterback's not going to have a lot of time, so give them what time they can give them.
Do you think the weather is going to play into this at all? There's really no running game for either team to go to today, so we're going to expect the short passes?
Right. Well, Washington, I don't think, is really going to come out and really try to run the ball. They'll run the ball when they can, but their attack is to come out with the 4 wide receivers, 1 back in the backfield, maybe not a back at all, and actually just try to throw the ball. So they'll run it if they have to, but they're going to come out throwing the ball.
Okay. Now, we also have to talk about when you were here back in the day, 16 years ago. Was this Washington game that big of a deal?
You hear people talk all the time about whether the Washington game is a rival for Oregon or is it Oregon State. But let me tell you, I've played in this game before, and this game's huge. And the implication here is because the team that wins this game is really the team that really, I think, has a dominant force as far as recruiting in the Northwest. So it's a big rival, and the games here always seems to come down to a big play on special teams or something that wins or loses the game for a team.
Now, Coach Mike Bellotti trying to not make a very big deal about this game, but you still think it's important. Who gets the better bowl?
Yeah, the bowl gets a big implications right now. As far as Oregon and Washington, both the Rose Bowl are gone, but there's still a chance for other bowls to play in. and whoever wins this game has got to get a chance for a bigger bowl. There's a lot of bowls out there, but there's definitely good bowls, and there's bowls that are more important than bowls that Oregon wants to go to.
There we go. Thank you so much, Mike. Steve, I'll send it back to you. Mike wants to get into the stadium.
Oh, I can tell he is fired up, ready to go. Cindy, I think one of the points today that we really need to look at, which team can bounce back from adversity the most? I mean, last week USC got pounded, USC pounded Washington, and of course the Oregon Ducks lost big at Arizona. Which team can bounce back and bounce back quickly today?
That is so true, and they also have to look ahead as well. They're at a situation as to whoever runs the table will get the better bowl. Steve?
Okay, Cindy, thank you very much. And that wraps up the Ducks and Dogs pregame show. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned next for Oregon and Washington football right here on the Power of Two. Enjoy the game, everybody.